if this is for you, but in case you didn't know, you can get started with Airbnb without actually having to own any of the properties, and it's completely legal. And now you know. What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel where I am in a never-ending growth season of my life, documenting my successes and wins, but also my trials and tribulations. We're all alike more than we realize, and most times we're asking a lot of the same questions while endlessly looking for the answers. So if you want to follow along with my journey in order to help you navigate yours, then please like and subscribe so that we can all figure it out together. All right, so to answer your question of how you can get started with Airbnb without having to own the property is through rental arbitrage. In my last video here, I explained what rental arbitrage is, but just in case you missed it, let me break it down for you. Rental arbitrage is when you rent a property from a landlord and negotiate with them to allow you to sublease their property and market it on sites such as Airbnb and VRBO. Let me give you an example. I go on Zillow and I find a 3-bed, 2-bath house. Once I find that property, I reach out to the landlord and negotiate with them in order to allow me to sublease the property. From there, we agree on certain conditions and we sign an addendum on top of the existing lease. Now I am the tenant of that property, and now I just have to furnish the property and list it on Airbnb or VRBO. The profit that you pocket is going to be the difference between the income that you make on Airbnb and the rent that you pay your landlord. Of course, outside of any other rental expenses that you might have. See? So it's simple. Kind of. Let me do you one better. Here are 5 tips in order to help you get started with Airbnb through rental arbitrage. Step 1, determine your budget. Keep in mind that just because you don't need to have the funds to purchase the property, you still need to provide proof of income in order to even rent a property. Now, once you've comfortably established how much you're willing to allocate towards monthly rent, you can now begin the search for a property that meets your rental criteria. But before that, this step is important not only for getting approved by your landlord, but also for the instance that your Airbnb isn't profitable and you have to use your own income in order to pay for that rent. Now, I hope that doesn't happen to you, but if we're gonna be friends, I gotta tell it to you straight. And sometimes, as much as we try to avoid these things, they happen. Step 2, choosing your market. Now, come here. Let's get real for a second. I know you've seen cool Airbnbs with cool decor in some of the biggest cities in the world. However, I need you to hear me on this. Not every city is going to allow you to have a short-term rental there. There are rules and regulations galore in almost every city, and you are definitely going to have to do the proper research in order to know this. Just do a simple Google search of the city that you're searching for and then short-term rental regulations. And make sure to read every little detail. I would even go as far as calling the city to ask directly versus, getting twisted on the facts that you read online and not getting the answers that you need immediately. So make sure to do that. Don't say I didn't warn you, choose wisely. Step 3, property, performance, and profit. One of the mistakes that I made when I was searching for my first property was that I was more interested in what I liked, meaning that I was picturing myself actually living at the property and not actually visualizing what I could turn the place into for my guests. I am not saying that you shouldn't like the property that you're looking for, but don't forget to see it for the potential that it could have, especially the financial potential. Here's a tool that you can use in order to find that potential. It's called AirDNA. You can create a free account on AirDNA, and once you find a property that meets your rental criteria, say on Zillow for example, you can copy the address and paste it over to AirDNA. Once you've done that, make sure that the bedrooms and bathrooms listed on Zillow are the same on AirDNA. Sometimes they are not the same, so you have to keep your eye on it, and this could impact your numbers dramatically. Keep in mind that these numbers aren't always 100% accurate, and I've seen them fluctuate far beyond and below what's listed here, but it can give you a good basis. Some numbers that I would recommend looking for are 50 to 55K plus in projected revenue and 50 to 55% plus in occupancy rates. AirDNA allows you to view additional insights and competitors in your area by updating to a basic plan. And listen, because we're friends, I feel the need to tell you this. Be sure to check out the crime rates for the area that you're looking in, because you want to be able to feel comfortable with the location of your property, but also don't forget, you want your guests to feel comfortable too. Step 4, reaching out to the landlord. This is probably the most anxiety-filled part of rental arbitrage is getting the landlord to say yes. And I know how frustrating this can be, especially when you find a property that hits all your numbers and all your rental criteria, but then the landlord says no and you are just left feeling hopeless. So just a reminder, have a couple properties picked out and don't get married to a specific property. Let me just save you the heartbreak in advance because we don't need any more heartbreaks, okay? Now is the time to pull out your persistence and make sure that the landlords notice you. So what you're gonna wanna do is reach out to them on the website that you found the property on. You're gonna wanna email them, you're gonna wanna text them, and you're gonna wanna give them a phone call. Keep in mind that this process takes a lot of time and patience, so I would cast a wide net, reach out to as many landlords as possible until someone bites. Now, I won't go through how to negotiate with the landlord in this video. There are a ton of videos online that can help you do that, but just be sure that you are prepared and make sure you do your research because most times you're only gonna have one conversation with this landlord and you wanna make it count. Keep in mind, first impressions matter. Step 5, the financial setup. Assuming you find your property, you negotiate with the landlord, and all the details are ironed out and signed off on, you're gonna have to start preparing how to set up your Airbnb. Financially, if you thought all you needed was gonna be monthly rent, you got another thing coming for you, buddy, because you're about to get slapped with things such as a security deposit, maybe first and last month's rent, and also all of your furnishing costs. Have you figured out what you're gonna do about all that yet? A lot of people have the funds on hand, which is awesome, but unfortunately some people just don't. And so here are a few options that could help. Now, by no means am I a financial expert, nor do I aspire to be one, but these are just a few options that have helped me or that I considered looking into when I first started my Airbnb journey. Now, considering that you have a consistent revenue flow from maybe your job and you have good credit, you could apply and be approved for a 0% interest credit card for up to 12 to 21 months. I would suggest doing your own research to see what's going to be best for you in order to get started. Having a 0% interest credit card definitely helped me tremendously with my furnishing costs. However, that was the decision I chose to make during my situation, and I definitely would recommend that you do what's going to be best for you. I know that was broad and very much so generalized, but I hope that I at least piqued your interest and curiosity on how you can get started with Airbnb through rental arbitrage. That's really all I wanted to accomplish here, is to let you know that it's possible. It can be done. I did it, but it does take a lot of work, just like anything else. Just a reminder, ask yourself, if the gurus can do it, why can't you? See you in the next one.